Well, it's finally time to be adding some useful information, our arboretum information. What I've done is to create a symbol, and here it is here, which I can place over the top of any tree. I've deliberately made the symbol only 1.5 meters wide, and you'll notice even here, these trees are probably 5 or 6 years old. The canopy diameter of some of them is, in fact, larger than that. But we want to be able to put that symbol in and then copy it. So I'll select it, copy it, and we want to put it down on some of the less well-defined species. So here I'm just going over the site, putting a marker on top of every one of the different varieties of Quercus that exist in the arboretum. So in they go. This may well be one here. So we might miss one or two, but that's a reasonable cloud of indicators indicating the presence of a Quercus species. Now we can hold a lot of non-graphic information with these symbols. If we use the @edit command, we can type it or pick it from a pull-down menu. The prompt down in the bottom of the screen here says select the block. So we can just pick it. When we pick it, up pops the attributes that are stored with that block. They're not in any particular order of importance, but each of them has some sort of little prompt that goes with them. But if we had the GPS coordinates of that particular point, we could type in the values there. We do have, and we can get from our grid, local grid information. So we could say, well, this is in grid cell G9 for the sake of argument. I'm not sure that it is. I don't have the grid turned on at the moment, but that can go in. We can put in the common name. We can say white oak, and we've got the species name here. I'm sorry we have to jump all over the place to pick these up, but that could be improved by improving the block. Quercus alba for the white oak. The condition, we could say that in this particular instance we're trying to monitor the quality of our arboretum, the plants in our arboretum. So we're rating this one as average. Its height, we can say estimated height at the current time when we're out there on site is 5 meters. We might well have taken a photograph of this, and we might have some unique identifier for our photograph. Let's imagine that it's 456A. That's what we call it in our photo library. The year planted might well have been 1996. If we've got others in the stand, similar white oaks, we might be able to say, well, there are in fact 12 white oaks in this stand, and if we knew where we are, we could just copy this symbol and put them on top. But you can see what I'm trying to do. I've got a notes. I can add notes. This might be able to say something like needs pruning. So we can store a lot of non-graphic information with individual symbols. So when I just double click on it, up comes the block there and all of the attributes with it. Its species name is Quercus alba, planted in not 1196, 1996. So I can edit it there if I wish. 1996. There are 12 of them in the stand. They're called white oaks. The condition of this particular one is average. Its canopy diameter, forgotten to estimate that. That might be 5. So it's 5 meters high and 5 meters in canopy diameter. And I might have the GPS coordinates of that, so that I can give someone who is in the house here who wants to go out, they can take a handheld GPS and just go out straight to that white oak. And we get really smart, and we might try and do that in a moment. We'll put a photograph of pages showing the white oak. But I'm sure I make my point. You can see we can work over time. We can improve we'll turn on the grid, and if I zoom out a little now, I'll close that one there, zoom out a little. So it would be A, B, C, D, E. It's column E and cell 2, that particular one is in. So the grid's rather coarse at the moment. You could put a much finer grid on there if you wanted to, but I'm trying to illustrate concepts. So the user here can over time improve the information that's carried with the Google Earth image below it and get information on it. So you can do all sorts of things. You could be monitoring water quality in that lake. Blue-green algal blooms may appear at certain times of the year. pH values, salinity values could all be recorded and the information stored. So drawings become much more than just a replacement for a drawing board. They have built-in intelligence.